Hello, survey enthusiasts. My name is Rhonda Anderson, and I am with the Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development in the Office of Workforce Development.
And I'm Richard Schumacher. I'm with the Workforce Solutions Group of St. Louis Community College.
Today, we're going to share information with you about our surveys. Missouri has been doing a statewide survey for 2 years. This is our 3rd year.
St. Louis Community College initiated the State of the St. Louis Workforce Employer Survey and Report in 2009 as a response to the start of the Great Recession. We wanted to profile the economic landscape of the St. Louis metropolitan area by examining the business client, identifying employment trends, and looking at the patterns of worker dislocation. The objective was to provide decision makers the guidance they needed to more effectively support and align services for both local businesses as well as dislocated workers in the St. Louis region. The employer survey was designed to gain key insights into business conditions, hiring strategies, and employer plans. We wanted to discover the challenges employers were facing in the economy, the strategies being used to adapt, and their future plans. The report was released at a live event and shared with the public for free on the college's website. We collaborated with Merrick and the state of Missouri folks to help us design the survey, to validate what we were looking at and what our results ended up being, as well as to get a valid list of contacts to do the survey as well.
So seeing the great work that St. Louis Community College was doing in surveying employers in the metro area, Missouri approached St. Louis Community College to continue that survey work throughout the state. So in partnership with the college, the state of Missouri, in response to a workforce initiative called Talent for Tomorrow, initiated a survey of all of the employers throughout the state. We wanted to get a picture of workforce needs, both in our metro and non-metro areas. In Missouri, we have some very metro areas like St. Louis and Kansas City, and some very non-metro areas that are less populated.
Both reports have helped inform decision-making at both the regional level in the St. Louis metropolitan area, as well as for the state. Our chancellor, Dr. Jeff Pittman, says that the State of St. Louis Workforce Report has become a critical resource for the St. Louis region and the state of Missouri. The research findings are used by state and local workforce and economic development agencies, and the information is often cited in area planning documents and when building strategic initiatives to improve or expand the economic growth of the region. For the college, this information has driven how we align our resources to meet workforce needs in the area, one of the key mission parameters of a vibrant community college. Our partnership with the state continues. This will now be the 13th report for the St. Louis area and the 3rd report statewide.
The partnership with the college has served Missourians well. We were able to gather information from employers throughout the state that help inform our many workforce initiatives. As we recover from the pandemic, the Return Strong initiative has helped with outreach to many Missourians who are not working and help them increase their skills as they return to the workforce. Missouri is second in the nation in apprenticeships, and the data from employers has helped us understand the skill sets and the workforce needs of our employers as we move forward. Questions surrounding apprenticeships were added to the survey a couple of years ago. The big initiative for our state right now is Job Centers of the Future, or Job Center Connect. This is a comprehensive look at how we serve our customers, whether they be job seekers or employers. And the data that we have retrieved from the survey has helped inform that initiative. Statewide, we use the information for the WIOA planning, or the Workforce Opportunity and Innovation Act planning, that is required of each state and each local workforce board. Information from the survey is included in the narrative for each of the regions as we look to the workforce needs.
The State of St. Louis Workforce Employer Survey and Report covers the St. Louis City, St. Louis County, and the 14 counties that surround that area in both Missouri and Illinois. There's approximately 1.3 million workers in our labor force. And our report always had four major parts: an executive summary, an overview of the St. Louis economy. That uses a combination of BLS, census, ACS, and merit and burning glass information, the findings of our actual employer survey, and then a narrative section that talks about regional labor market issues.
The Missouri statewide survey covers the entire state of Missouri. That includes 114 counties, plus one large municipality, the city of St. Louis. Our state has many metro areas covered in gold on the map, but most counties are considered non-metro areas. Most of the state's employment, or over 2.25 million, are located in our metro areas. The employer data was separated between metro and non-metro, thinking that our employers would have different needs in the different areas of the state. The survey process has many different steps. The first is the procurement process. And St. Louis Community College really takes the lead on procurement of the vendor. The vendor then is charged with contacting the businesses in the state of Missouri. Merit queries a list of the different employers in the state that employ 5 people or more so that we may contact them. The survey vendor then contacts each business. The survey takes about 20-25 minutes to complete with all of the questions that are included. The vendor also tracks what types of businesses are contacted and actually complete the survey. We want to be sure that the responses from the employers are similar to the industry makeup in the state. For example, we look at the percentage of businesses in each NAICS group and ensure that the survey results are similar percentages in each of those groups. The survey vendor, when completing the survey, then puts together the results in graphic form so that we might see and understand those results. We then in turn use that information and some of the graphics, of course we change them to make them look pretty for our reports so that the data is easily digestible by the general public. For the state of Missouri, our report is generally released in the fall of each year. St. Louis Community College and the state of Missouri looks to statistically significant numbers of employers as well. We calculate statistically significant confidence level and margins of error so we can ensure good, reliable results as we make decisions moving forward.
As employers are returning to the office and their businesses, we're still finding a struggle getting surveys completed. It could be a little bit of burnout, as there are some industries such as manufacturing and healthcare that never did shut down for the pandemic, and they continued full speed ahead. Other industries, we find hospitality is actually answering the phones well right now. I think they want people to come to their businesses and spend money. Other businesses, such as professional, legal, insurance, and even healthcare now, I think there's the struggle of who's at the office, who's at home, who's on a cell phone, how do you get a hold of them? And that's one of the challenges we're experiencing with the survey right now. The good thing about doing a telephone interview survey is we get highly valid results. The disadvantage is it is hard to get people on the phone to answer a 20 or 22-minute survey. The survey question set itself has evolved over time. The state of Missouri, Merrick, and the college have worked on the survey questions every year of the 13 years we've done this, with refinements being made each year that are based on things that we'd want to understand or know about, such as we added apprenticeship, and things that we saw in the survey that the results weren't really giving us good information. So how do we change the survey to drill in deeper and understand better what are the issues being experienced by the employer?
The survey really contains 7 different categories of questions that are really geared to understand the employer's needs moving forward. It helps us to understand any growth or decline in employment within the businesses, the types of jobs and skills needed within the organization, the education level that might be required of a new employee, and any workforce initiatives that we are working with that might assist the employer in hiring the right people. When I'm talking about workforce initiatives, I'm talking about things like automation in the workplace or apprenticeships.
For hiring trends, these are questions that we started with back in 2009. How is your employment like last year? What do you plan to happen next year? What do you think will change your employment? And what kind of barriers are you having? Economic condition, lack of transportation or childcare, things of that nature. These questions have always been of interest to business and community leaders when we produce the report?
With the education and experience questions, we really try to dive down into the employer needs. Through the survey, we can tell the education and training levels that the employers are having the hardest time finding for the workplace. Current findings are that middle skill jobs are most in demand and the hardest to find within the workforce. This helps to inform both the community college of programs that are in most need, as well as the state of Missouri as we look for programs to train workers that come through the workforce system.
Employers have always been interested in the results of our skill shortages and applicant shortcoming questions. These are questions that look at the methods that are used to assist workers in getting new or increased skills. But these are also questions that ask about what issues are you seeing with applicants showing up at your door. An interesting thing about that is that most of the responses on shortcomings are about what was called the soft skills, probably really should be called power skills or essential work skills. It's things like work ethic and teamwork and collaboration and problem solving. For years, those have been the most important shortcomings that employers are seeing in applicants.
As we look at the skills shortages and shortcomings, we also look at the occupations and the skill sets that employers are looking for. Occupations are divided into several different functional areas. A functional area is really the focus of what that occupation would do. Think in terms of IT, healthcare, accounting, finance. Some of those jobs that would be employed by multiple different industries. This helps us get a picture of the types of occupations that might be in short supply. We also ask the employers about the skill level within each of those functional areas that would be required over the next year so that we can understand the types of training that might be needed for new employees to be hired into those jobs. As we look at the occupations and skill sets that employers are really looking for, we ask the employers to rank the importance of each of the skill sets. One surprising result is a shift from the importance of IT to construction and skilled trades. As workers in the skilled trades age out of the workforce and leave the workforce, it's really hard to find young workers to take their place. So this is becoming more and more of a need for the employers in Missouri.
We always look at trends and specialized parts of the workforce. We would like to know what's going on, what's in the future for the workforce. How can we as a college and the state position ourselves to be ready for what's coming next? So we have questions on workforce initiatives that include things like how likely it is to automate, or during the pandemic, we talked about remote work. And we're looking at how businesses feel those are going to impact what they're doing in the future.
Like the automation kind of helps us understand if additional training would be needed to skill up workers to work with that new automation. But it also told us this past year that employers, even if they do plan to automate, that their employment levels would stay the same.
Hiring consideration includes things that can act as a barrier to employment for many people. Many people who have been justice involved find barriers. So we ask questions that ask how you are willing to hire someone who may have been justice involved. We also ask about things like background checks or social media checks, find out what's being done by business. And we also asked about screening for drugs. The last years, we thought we would find more by breaking it into different types of drugs. But what we found is that basically companies either screen for drugs or they don't screen for drugs. And if they screen everybody for everything. Hiring consideration questions have evolved over time for us to drill in and understand the nuances of these different areas.
During the 2020 survey, we really wanted to find out more about the impacts of COVID-19 on our employers. We asked questions about how the businesses might have adjusted their business model or changed their operational structure to accommodate the virus and keep their employees safe. We also asked questions about how they were planning to reduce cost and the ranking of all of those concerns with the pandemic moving forward.
Many of these were, of course, special one-time questions designed to figure out the impact of the Godzilla in the room, the pandemic in 2020. When we move forward to the 2021 survey, it looks much like the surveys we did in prior years, because here we're trying not to figure out the impact anymore of the pandemic, but what in fact is happening with the workforce and the employers in the recovery.
We really wanted to know about the impact so that we could adjust programs and really assist employers as they come out of the pandemic recovery. Missouri was really expecting to see different results for employers in metro and non-metro areas. And one of our key takeaways is that employers really had the same needs, no matter where they were located in the state of Missouri. Most of our metrics showed very similar results in all of the different areas.
The college has now been doing the employer survey and report from the Great Recession through the bull run of a decade of economic growth and now into the generational disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. So we've seen an entire cycle at this point. We've seen employers adjust focus and shift, and we've also seen where they have remained consistent despite exterior economic conditions, such as in the need for middle-skill jobs. That means we now know where we can be incremental as a college, such as with healthcare programs, and when we have to be more transformative, as with information technology, to address the region's various workforce needs.
One of the measures that we will continue to monitor over the next few years is the employer preferences on hiring. Pre-pandemic, employers were very willing to consider justice-involved individuals for the workplace. This was a key part of the workforce that was largely untapped. During the pandemic, employers were less likely to consider someone who was justice involved. This could be because there was a larger pool in the workforce to choose from due to some of the layoffs associated with the pandemic. We'll continue to monitor this measure to see how the opinions of employers do change over time.
One takeaway from seeing the result from employer surveys is that soft and hard skills are massively misnamed. The candidate skills gap consistently shows that those things called soft skills are actually at the top of the employer's needs list, with hard skills always much lower down. This is kind of counter to the need STEM skills first efforts going on in the media and across the country. Employers want young people to be interested in the jobs that they have at an earlier age, and this includes by exposure to STEM fields, but knowing how to use a centrifuge or a particular programming language is much less important for a long-term hire than teamwork, communication skills, problem solving, and just good work habits. These aren't soft skills. These are power skills or essential skills and are key to becoming successfully employed.
From the state's perspective, we do use the employer feedback as we work through different statewide initiatives. The Return Strong initiative really talked about what employers needed and what skills that employees should have as they return to the workforce. Apprenticeships are huge in Missouri. And again, we learned information from employers on the skill sets that are needed and whether they'd be interested in participating in apprenticeships. We learned that many apprenticeships were delayed because of COVID.
For the college, a recent example of using this employer survey research is in the construction of our new Center for Nursing and Health Sciences at our Forest Park campus. At this location, we offer 13 healthcare career programs in high-need areas. The college is also expanding offerings in IT, biotechnology, financial services, and manufacturing as a direct result of the data provided in our report.
So the huge initiative for workforce development over the next several years is Job Centers of the Future. During the first phase of the project that just ended last month in May is gathering information from all of our customer groups. Surveys of our staff, of customers, including employers and job seekers, helped inform the type of services and the service delivery methods that our customers are really looking for when they interact with our job centers. The information from the employer survey also went into the feedback, into the data that informs decisions moving forward on how we serve our customers. Look for more from Job Centers of the Future, now being called Job Center Connect, as we connect our customers to the services that we provide.
So for 2021, we are surveying all the businesses again. The St. Louis survey had switched to a mode where we surveyed all businesses in our region one year, and the following year we targeted a specific set of industries, whether it was STEM or whether we looked at, say, healthcare and logistics and manufacturing. For 2020, for the pandemic, we decided to survey everyone because that gave us a larger pool of people to try to contact, but we also wanted to understand what was happening for all kinds of different businesses. And we saw differences. We saw that manufacturing continued at more or less the same pace it was doing before the pandemic. For 2021, we decided we were going to survey all of the business sectors again. And there were two reasons for that. One was we were still concerned that we may have problems reaching people to get results. And we're finding that to be true. The second reason was it allows us to do a comparison of a before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and what we're seeing during the recovery in our 2021 report. Many of the pandemic specific questions were removed in favor of spending the interview time asking employers about the shortcomings they see in applicants, which was always a topic employers wanted to hear about.
The employer survey really is a partnership between St. Louis Community College and the state of Missouri. St. Louis Community College takes the lead on procurement and securing a vendor. This eliminates the need for both of us to be following that same process for the same survey. We use the same questions so that information can be compared across the metro and the state of Missouri. The state of Missouri also contributes toward the expense of the survey for St. Louis Community College. We pay for part of the surveys administered in the metro area on the Missouri side so that we can include those results in the statewide information.
And the advantage of that is that it reduces the cost for both of us compared to if we did independent surveys.
In working together, we are able to reduce the total cost as one organization is working through the procurement process, and we use the same sets of questions. Dr. Marty Leathers, the director of the Office of Workforce Development, really appreciates this employer survey. Being a data-driven organization, the survey results have really been used to inform many of our statewide initiatives.
The 2021 State of the St. Louis Workforce Report will be released at a live event at St. Louis Community College's Forest Park Campus Theater on Wednesday, August 11th. You're invited to attend or watch a live stream on 9 PBS. The report will also be available online for free that same day at stlcc.edu/STLworkforce. For the 2021 narrative section of our report, we are partnering with the St. Louis Federal Reserve's new Institute for Economic Equity to discuss how marginalized people interact with the economy and how to create an economy that works for everyone.
The statewide survey results will be released in a report during the fall of the year. So thank you for attending our session today. We welcome any questions that you might have now or in the future, and our contact information is on the screen. Feel free to reach out.